if you don't have Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, or Khalil Mack as your MVP this season, there's nothing to talk about. What's good, everybody? It's your boy MJ Nelson, and I am back with another episode of the Motion Sports Brief, episode 15. So, this week, we're going to have a very quarterback-driven conversation. We're going to talk the Washington Redskins, we're going to talk the Dallas Cowboys, and we're going to talk Russell Wilson. But also, make sure you stay tuned at the end of the video. Today's musical guest, I guess we'll say, the musical selection for today comes from The Wave. He released a new single titled Bitch Move. It came out last week. Video is in the description. Make sure you check it out. But let's go ahead and jump into the video today. So first up, the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins have been pretty egregious this season. They've started off 0-4, not including today's game. I haven't seen it yet. Obviously, you know I record Sunday before. But they've had three different quarterbacks. If you're including the start that's coming in today, they've had Case Keenum, who's done terrible. Then they threw in Dwayne Haskins before he was ready. And today they're starting Colt McCoy. Now, to be honest with you, I don't feel like Dwayne Haskins is ready to be thrown out there. I'm not quite sure why Jay Gruden has decided to even put Colt McCoy in. You're not gonna win a division. You're not gonna make a run. Your team obviously isn't good enough. They have gaping holes at the offensive line, which is not letting their quarterback flourish. Like, they can't do anything. They don't have time. The run game sucks. The passing game is atrocious. And the defense is playing okay, but they're giving up too many points. So I don't think anything will change. I do expect Jay Gruden to be fired within the next 2 or 3 weeks, if not sooner. Because I don't think this game they're having today against the Patriots is going to help at all. But whatever. So, next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys. So, last week, the Dallas Cowboys suffered their first loss against the New Orleans Saints, where everybody thought that it would be a complete wash because they were the Breezeless Saints. Because obviously, Drew Brees is on the injury reserve list right now. So, this led a lot of people to think that, are the Cowboys overrated? And I'm here to answer that question. No, they're not. Like, people are forgetting that this game has been on the Saints calendar since last year. Like, this was a redemption game. So, obviously, they were going to play with more passion. They lost last year, and they got embarrassed last year by the Cowboys because the Cowboys were struggling, and they just flipped on the switch. It's not the same thing. The Saints were doing really well, 3-1 right now. But it was a game where they were like, all right, this is on our calendar. And honestly, Sean Payton is a far better coach than Jason Garrett. So what is the surprise here? Why do you think they would have lost? Like, Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback, and he keeps the Saints afloat. But everybody else is still great on the team. Get that through your heads. They just lost a good game. Now, if this is a continual trend and they lose all their good games, we may have something to talk about. So we may revisit this later. But right now, everybody chill out. It's week 4. We're only a quarter of the way through the season. Well, 1/4 of the way through the season, which is a quarter. So relax. All right. Now, next up, let's talk about Russell Wilson. On Thursday night, the Seattle Seahawks played the Los Angeles Rams, and they snuck by with a 30-29 point victory. And Russell Wilson made some incredible throws in that game. So this led me to ask myself the question, which you can answer as well. Is Russell Wilson having an MVP caliber season? And I believe so. He has great numbers. He's winning, most importantly, and his team is clicking on all cylinders. They are mixing it up well between the run and the pass. Chris Carson is doing his thing. Tyler Lockett is doing his thing. And Bobby Wagner is making sure that defense is locked in. I personally feel like some quarterbacks, a majority, I don't think you have a lot of quarterbacks who honestly are going to be great their first 3 seasons. Some of them take a little time to develop. Russell Wilson, he took a little time to develop. Now, he's always been great, but right now you're seeing him have a developed pass game at all levels, short, mid, and long. So he's doing his thing. And personally, since we're already kind of on the MVP discussion, if you don't have Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, or Khalil Mack as your MVP this season, there's nothing to talk about. You obviously are not paying attention to the game and you're showing favoritism. If you watch these men, they are putting on great bodies of work. Don't just pick somebody that you think is having an MVP caliber year or your MVP because you like them. You got to look at it. Wins, dominance, and stats. They all play a part into it. And all these men are having a great season. So we'll see how it plays out. And for the last segment of the day, you guys know what it is. It's the Ass Butter Team of the Week. And we have 2 new entries this week. All right. So this week we have the Cincinnati Bengals. Give it up, give it up. And I was just playing. It wasn't a new entry. It's only one. The other one is the Washington Redskins. So honestly, I'm going to just be honest. I almost called this one a draw because both teams played so terrible last week. I mean, they both scored 3 points and they both had lackluster performances, but there can only be one winner. And this week's winner is, you guessed it, you probably didn't, but it's the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Bengals were just horrible last week. They had the Monday night game where they played the Pittsburgh Steelers and they lost 27-3. Now, I'm not saying that the Steelers are trash, but they are a shell of themselves. And if you have your starting quarterback, I would expect you to be great. They were far from it. And yeah, they both teams just sucked this week. All right, Cincinnati, you were horrible. Get it together because you've been bad for a while now. If not, free AJ Green and let him do what he needs to do. But this has been another episode of the Motion Sports Brief. I've been your host, MJ Nelson, and I'll see y'all next week. Peace. I got it this week.
Bitch, move. I ain't got no time for no cuddle shit. I do what I want and I make time for these blue hundreds. And if you knew what I knew, then wasting time is irrelevant. City all the time, tryna go somewhere I never been. You can't tell me shit, I'm on my own shit. Pull up in that brand new whip, they know I own it.